talk will circle around technology, B2B brands a little bit more than usual, but I believe that it will be helpful for the general idea will convey to brands in general, not B2B as well. So sharing my screen now so that we start. Okay, as Kalo said, the topic is, you see my screen, right?
Yes, all good.
Yep. So the topic is how Reddit, LinkedIn, I skipped the X because it didn't show up in the data this time, so it will be just community. How Reddit, LinkedIn, and AI search shape brand perception. The examples will be on the B2B side. And as Kalo said, he will give you a hint how you can control that, showcasing you a couple of things in Sensorhub. So I will start with the main idea to make sure everybody, even if someone gives up, they will understand what the webinar was about. So the main concept is that the AI systems do not invent brand perception. They do not invent how they represent your brand in their results. What they do is actually they compress the existing talk about your brand in different communities and in your whole ecosystem. That's obviously not just LinkedIn, Reddit, different socials and all that. It's also the ecosystem, the brand is in general. Like it could be different industry blogs, it could be small media, big media, it could be comparison websites, different types of websites that represent the whole industry, the whole vertical. So let's start with a small question, a question we can start with this is Notion. It is from Notion. The question is, what is the best workspace software for organizing product operations and marketing teams? And here, for example, the answer that you will see at the end, one of the sources that actually contributed to the answer is CodeGen.com. Another one is Reddit. Another one is Airtable. Airtable is quite popular, I guess. A lot of you know that brand, so it's a comparison table of sorts. That Notion is represented as database, wikis, flexible pages. Then Reddit again. Here, Reddit, Notion is represented with workspace for notes, docs, used for central project hub. And the answer that is generated with the sources that we just seen, the answer represents Notion as specs, wikis, extremely flexible in terms of objectives, easy to create operating systems, internal knowledge bases, and company brain tool for startups and lean teams. So the main idea is every time you ask a question, they're different, even if you try different questions, obviously different variations of the question, usually the main objectives about a brand start persistently to appear because they're based on the sources that actually feed that answer. So a couple of examples to better describe what that looks like in practice. As Kalo said, we deliberately chose big enough brands so that we don't need to explain everybody what these or that brands do. These are N8N, Ahrefs, and Notions. The most popular LLM platforms have been used. I also had Google AI overviews and AI mode activated in the data reports. And what I looked for in that reports is recurring narratives, competitor patterns, buyer prompts, and community discussions. So I have also set links behind those brand names, Notion, Ahrefs, N8N, so that you can take a look at the data sets yourself and see what exactly that data looked like. But for each of those brands, I run full reports using a tool called Rank Scale. There are a lot of tools like Rank Scale on the market, I believe. If you're interested in the topic, you already use one of that tool or another. Chose 10 prompts for each of those brands, 5 branded, 5 non-branded, and I let the AI ChatGPT describe the brand for me. I deliberately wanted the AI to give me the generic version of that brand. So 10 for Notion, 10 for Ahrefs, 10 for N8N, 2 branded, 2 non-branded prompts. And this is the scorecard. Like obviously Ahrefs is the big winner here, but they're all big brands and they're already very well positioned in the specific metrics that we are taking a look at. The big one I usually focus on is the AI visibility score and the sentiment, which is at the top. Again, these are all big brands. We don't measure who is more visible, who is not visible. The main idea here is to see how they are visible in these results.
Lily, question here about the visibility score. That's how many times the brand has been mentioned in the prompt search, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay, so starting with N8N, the main theme here, looking at the data about N8N, based again on these 10 brands for them, it's that they're present everywhere, like they're 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 answers, they appear there, but they're positioned very narrowly. What does it mean? What the AI repeatedly tells about N8N is that they're open source, they're self-hosted, full control. You get full control using them. It's Zapier alternative and it's developer first. So the answer, one example answer from AI mode, you can see on the right. And why is that a narrow positioning? Because the real risk in AI search, at least when a brand has a certain threshold of popularity, is not that they will be invisible, that they won't be included in that result at all, is that the narrative often is twisted. In this specific data set, N8N is actually positioned as in the red circle on the open source self-hosted developer first and more specifically Zapier alternative, when in reality, the bigger talk about their brand, and this is based on their brand on their website content, is about enterprise orchestrations. They talk about AI agents. They want to be positioned around workflow automations and the different integrations that they can do. So the AI, for these very generic prompts that I used, the AI narrowed the perception of that brand to pretty much a Zapier alternative. And that could be problematic for a brand like that. Exactly what I just said. I have that habit of saying what I'm saying in the next slide. I'll say it before that.
So sorry, can you go back just a second to the circles? Yeah. So the green circles is where this is essentially like a gap of the narrative that hasn't been described in AOMs. Is that what you meant, or?
Yeah, pretty much the whole thing. Like they obviously are open source and self-hosted and developer first and all that good, and they are a Zapier alternative, but they are not just only that. They also want to position the brand about other things as well. There is a bigger picture here, and they only show a portion of it.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. This slide is especially for you. AI retrieves a narrow technical identity for N8N in that case. So where does this narrative comes from? As I said, from specific adjectives and from specific wording coming from in different community websites. For example, here is one from Reddit, from obviously for this from this data set. It's self-hosted setup again. NA10, the self-hosted Tango, is here mentioned again. Oops. And here it looks like there's something I deleted. But mostly Reddit. There is also a lot of non-Reddit mentions involved, but we won't go through that right now. And it's repeated there, like with the previous example with Notion I showed you. When you go through community websites or ecosystem inclusion websites that are not community or user-generated content, the same wording, the same pattern appear there as well. Next case is Ahrefs. What here is very specific about them, the way AI repeatedly represents them, is that they are gold standard, and they are very well positioned as an SEO tool. Like, that's not a problem. Obviously, they are one of the most popular AI tools on the market. But again, that story is way bigger than that. Gold standard, as they are positioned, is repeated a lot of times across the different sources in exactly that wording. Best backlink index, content gap, again, backlink and competitive intelligence. Everybody in the audience here know, if they worked with Ahrefs or heard about them, they know that this is exactly what they are very popular for. And the narrative comes from, for example, Capterra, here, gold standard for SEO tools, in my opinion. Then webprot.io, gold standard for link building and competitive analysis. So these are repeatable wording, repeatable phrases across the sources that shape the story about Ahrefs, that they're very SEO focused, and also they're a gold standard. So if someone from Ahrefs is wondering why they're called that in AI, they can take a look at the citations, I guess. Here it is. And how that looks like in their specific case. Again, what is important here to say is that not every brands on the market have a profile of citation that necessarily include a lot of Reddit or a lot of Quora or a lot of YouTube. It's very specific on what type of brands these are. For technical brands, Reddit, Quora, and very often YouTube are very popular. But to better understand what community websites you should include, and non-community as well, in your citation analysis, it's better to run not just an audit of a report of your citation profile, but also a citation profile of your competitors, so that you map the whole citation ecosystem and better understand where you need to actually get more active. In the case of Ahrefs, these are the top community websites they need to participate in. Sorry, no X. It didn't appear anywhere.
Yeah, usually X is not that well indexed, but I'll talk about that a bit later.
Okay. Okay, so Notion, they want to be, they are presented as a flexible company operating system, because it's interesting about them that people on these sources that are cited and then used in building the answer in AI search actually very often describe in full detail how they use Notion when they have it. AI repeatedly says about Notion that it's all in one workplace, highly customizable, flexible, internal wiki, company brain and company HQ is often very well represented. And don't think that there are only good things that are cited in the results. Actually, there is a whole lot of section about the negative objectives around certain brands. For example, for Notion, it said that they're very messy without governance. So here, as I said, Notion it's explained in very big detail how Notion is, how companies experience Notions when it have it, as opposed to the previous two brands in N8N and in Ahrefs. It's more about what are the categories they belong in, or the different objectives about what the product, the platform does. So again, where it is coming from, again, as I said, people describe Notion in big detail. They're telling exactly what they assemble it with. Notion is very flexible tool, which can be good or bad. You should check out craft docs, as they have multiple spaces. People give certain instructions how to use the tool when and this is then represented in the AI answers. Here is another one. We need to second here Notion as well. It's very Notion 100%. You can keep it free for a while. And also from LinkedIn, here is a better description. Here is a description about the different categories in which it can be helpful, like collaboration, project management, and things like that. So what is the pattern that we've seen? The AI systems repeatedly reduce complex brands or twist or give a different angle about what they do, very specific thing about them, and it's almost entirely based on how it's cited in the ecosystems of their of the ecosystem they belong to. So it's a few dominant internet narratives, and from the brands that I worked with, actually maybe 60 to 70% of that dominant internet narratives is driving the brand perception. The other 20 to 25 to maybe 30% is coming from the website itself. So the control of the brand, what they say about themselves and how they want to be represented, is no more than a third of the information that is used about presenting them. The dominant part is coming from internet narratives. Again, for N8N, this looks like this, but N8N want to be known for something else. For example, the meta description that now appears on Google is a workflow automation platform that uniquely combines AI capabilities with business process automation, giving technical teams the flexibility of blah, blah. While they talk about themselves as an enterprise solution, because this is from their homepage. They have a case study with Vodafone, selling to enterprise. They have AI native positioning, building AI agents, trying to position themselves as an AI agents platform, like pretty much everybody else. Like cross-functional positioning, also coming from their homepage. Code when you need it, UI when you don't need it. So we have this situation when the repeated descriptors, good or bad, are open source, self-hosted Zapier alternative and developer workflows, which is very small scale. While in the SERP and the homepage on the website, they're talking about agents, enterprise orchestration, Vodafone, case study, etc. So this is more elevated, more holistic, and obviously more price, higher price ticket than how it's represented in AI search. Again, bad habit of saying the statements before the slides. The pattern when it comes to Ahrefs, again, just a reminder, golden standard in the AI, best backlink index, content gap, backlink intelligence. These are very tactical, very small scale messaging about what they do. While in Google, what they talk about is we help marketers drive visibility across AI, search, SEO, content, social, with largest AI and search database online. Obviously, SEO is talked about again. They're mainly SEO platform, but it's more elevated talk, and they're talking about a holistic platform that is doing more than just SEO, but also covering content and social and AI search and all that. On the homepage, again, AI visibility platform is a positioning, market intelligence platform, enterprise intelligence platform. So on the one side, we have the very narrowed gold standard backlink SEO, a very good tool from the SEO toolbox. On the other side, AI visibility, marketing platform, enterprise intelligence, and all that. In Notion, they want to be seen as flexible the AI sees them as flexible workspace, startup friendly, collaborative, customizable, knowledge-based, company wiki. And that's pretty much correct. That's how I know them too. That's how they appeared in, for example, ChatGPT, but they want to be known for building custom agents, search across all your apps, automate busy work. So they want to be on the AI agents automation side of things. Company OS and HQ. This is correct. Operational workflow platform and AI productivity. So mostly AI and agents. The repeated descriptors: company wiki, knowledge base, productivity hub, collaborative. And on the Google SERP, a different story, again, more holistic, more upscale, more higher ticket talk, and sell into enterprise as well. So what to do with all this? Like, why is this so important? Like, if we spend some time thinking about it, it should be logical, right? Especially that part where there has always been a talk about brands outside of their websites. That's not really the issue. Like Reddit and LinkedIn and all these platforms, they have been around for quite some time, way before we've had AI in the search results. The problem here is that the control over the brand positioning is moving. That's the main thing. Not that the brands had 100% of the control all the time. Again, talks like that, like Reddit and similar communities have been around for as long as there is an internet. Like you probably remember the times there were a lot of forums. This has been around for quite some time. But now the homepage, if the buyer is using AI search as a main discovery tool, discovery platform, the homepage and the homepage and the positioning pages and the product copy pages and all social channels, all that could be bypassed, because these are the places where the brand is actually controlling the messaging, how they want to represent themselves, like enterprise and AI agents and all this elevated talk and all this broader offering. From discovery channels as LLM platforms, all the buyer will see is the short version, the smaller version, the B2C version, in which it's self-hosted, is developer first. And unless maybe a very specific questions are asked, that's ask for enterprise, ask if Notion is doing AI workflows, and that type of research, all this messaging around what the brand is doing is actually can be skipped. That's the big problem here. So we have this emerging player where now the part of the talk about the brand is coming mostly from Reddit comparison threads, from LinkedIn operator posts, from best tools list. This is a little bit controversial, and they have quite a big problems now with the best tool lists and listicles. But nevertheless, implementation, conversations, review ecosystem, this is across the whole ecosystem that the brand inhabits, and is something that brands should start actively participating in that conversation, not obviously abandon the homepage altogether. Here are some more. but they will need to at least equally pay attention on the conversations that are happening in the ecosystem outside of their own assets, and obviously keep taking care of their own assets as well. So these are maybe the biggest insights: how to stay in control of that conversations. Buyers increasingly learn about the brand from AI summaries, not from your own assets. As I said, from my personal experience, the type of brands that I audit is no more than 1/3 of the citations and the sources used to build an answer are coming from the company website. All others are coming from the ecosystem: social, community, industry website, industry media, competitors as well, that type of sources. That's why the SEO is increasingly becoming ecosystem visibility instead of focus on the website and to optimize it, being it technical content and backlinks. And finally, I'm very fast today. And finally, what brands should monitor? Like, the easiest thing you can do is just open Google, come up. I'm saying this because I've met quite a few clients that actually have a hard time understanding what it is that they need to start monitor immediately, soon enough. Start with monitoring your competitors, how you compare against them. You can get ideas from the good old Google Suggest. So in recurring comparisons, buyer objections, for example, in these data sets that I will be sharing, you will see, for example, on the positive keywords, this is column AG, I think, you can see how how tools like rank scale classify the outputs, the answers that appear in the LLM platforms. For example, for Notion, these are all-in-one workspace, single source of truth, strong templates. And on the negative side, that could be messy without governance, weaker enterprise search. These are all appearing in the answer generated, coming from the sources and then appearing in the generated answers as well. As I said, the question is not if you're included or not included. The question is, you should monitor how you are included, because the negative sentiment is there as well. Yeah, so all that should be part of the reports you are taking. Hope regularly take a look at the recurring comparison, the repeated working, and the category narratives, and then take a look at how competitors are described as well. Twist, Monday.com, Slide, these are all Notion competitors that are also described in a certain way, so that you learn from them, and you can obviously take a look back at the sources that are used in there in building the answers for them as well. So AI systems reinforce repeated narratives, and the best you can do is not just to monitor those narratives, but also to try to participate in them as well. Getting more active, and as I said, at least half as active as you are on your own website. This is where Kalo comes in.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much, Lily. It was very insightful, or as the old saying goes, branding is what people talk about you when you're outside the room. And we should monitor those rooms and be engaged with them. So what I will show you here is what we do at Sensorhub and how you can take advantage of that. So let me share my screen. All right, so you should be able to see me now. So rank scale, peak, and all these tools are amazing. They show you how you can how you rank on the LM models and where you're showing up. However, they are only they only monitor what already ranks. So they only show the citations that are currently currently showing and influencing the rankings on those LLMs models. However, as we know, ChatGPT and pretty much any model, any AI model, works on a vast data set. There's a vast volume of data, and there's many conversations, many citations, many engagements, articles, etc., that might not necessarily show up if you just prompt within your 10 or 20 or 50 prompts or however many prompts you use. So what we've done with Sensorhub, we took a different approach to being able to engage with those type of conversations rather than going directly into the search engine results page and showing only the citations from communities. We dive deep into the communities itself. So we monitor LinkedIn, so we monitor Reddit, LinkedIn, and X for the most relevant conversations where your brand, where your competitors, or any pretty much any conversation related to your business. And we show you those conversations so you can monitor, you can engage with them, and you can try to improve the narrative and influence it with your engagement. So the way we do it is we analyze your website, and what I've done here, I'm showing here Notion. What we do is very deep analysis of the website. We use AI to generate the key selling points for the business. So, for example, here you can see for Notion, it says over 100 million users worldwide, trusted by Forbes Cloud 100, etc., etc. We then look at the ideal customer profiles. So, who would be the actual customer for that? The personas, switching into why they might want to switch, what are some barriers to switching, what are some pains that those users experience, and then also specific competitors for that specific type of persona. You can see here for Notion, we figured out that they are targeting B2B SaaS, remote first and distributed teams, product and engineering teams, and so on. Then we look at competitors. And this is very critical here because, as Lily mentioned, you also need to monitor where your competitors are showing, how they show up in those conversations, so what is the narratives they drive, and so on. So you can see here we found 19 competitors, and everything here happens automatically. Of course, you can make changes to that. If something is not correct, you can make some changes. And then we also find the most relevant communities, in this case, specifically the subreddits, that we monitor very closely to make sure that we find the most relevant conversations. And based on all that context, based on all that information, we then do a very deep search, deep web search of Reddit, LinkedIn, and X. And we try to find all these conversations that you actually need to be involved with in one way or another. And then we score each conversation based on two factors. One is relevancy to your business, so relevancy to the context. And the other one is the buying intent. So, how commercial is the threat? Is the person asking for an alternative? Are they comparing you to other tools and so on? And the result is that we are able to find many more conversations on those social media channels compared to what you only see on the search engine results page, which probably will be very limited. Maybe you get a couple dozen, maybe a few dozen of actual communities and spaces where you can engage. Here you can see here for Notion, it's a very popular brand. I just I just ran it today, so it's a very recent project that I created, and it already found over 1,000 signals. Some of them are extremely relevant. You can see here, for example, what AI tools you use to build a personal knowledge base. So this is something that Notion needs to be mentioned in, right? So they gotta make sure they're involved here. And either a community manager or someone from the SEO AEO team needs to be involved with that conversation. And that's the place where they can also include that narrative, and they can share why they're the best knowledge base or whatever keywords they want to include to be more relevant and to show up in those places. And you can see comparisons as well. So there's what we call the bottom of the funnel queries. people looking for software solutions, maybe comparing with other tools. If we go down and decrease the scoring, then we'll see something that's less relevant, but also opportunity to involve in those conversations. So maybe they might be, and one way to approach that would be to look for the engagement here. So for example, you can see here, this specific Reddit thread has a very huge engagement, like there's 44 comments, 269 upvotes. So this is a live conversation that happened just 23 hours ago. So even if it's not extremely high with a extremely high buying intent, you still can still engage in that conversation. You can talk to people. You can share what your tool does, maybe not in a direct way, but maybe you can provide some value, maybe link to or show some of your help resources or an article or something from your blog. And then that's one way you can engage with those conversations. And if you want to be more specific, you can also look at how your brand is specifically being ranked. So you can look for the specific keywords where Notion is mentioned, or you can track where competitors are being mentioned. For example, Quora, ClickUp, someone here talking about MCPs, and then they talk about the MCP at ClickUp. If I limit those conversations to Reddit, then I can see here someone talking about Trello and also comparing Trello and ClickUp. So that's another opportunity where you want to be involved. We also help you draft responses here, and there's a big note that I need to open here. You can create a voices. We call them voices. So you can create your personalized voice, and this is the place where you can instruct Sensorhub to include all of these relevant keywords, topics, and so on to be included when you write responses. And when you prompt Sensorhub to generate a draft, we will give you a starting point comment that you can copy and then paste into Reddit. My advice here would be to always edit those manually, because AI, it's not perfect. We know it's not perfect, especially people on Reddit. They're very sensitive to AI. So use this just as a starting point, get some ideas, insights on how you can respond to this to the thread, but then bring your own twist. And also another note that I like to open here is to mention that all of these comments, they're being indexed by our models. So it's not just the posts. And actually, there was an interesting case study recently. One guy did a vast research of various web pages, Reddit topics, and so on to estimate the effect of different factors on ranking. And what he found is that comments actually have a slightly Reddit comments specifically have a slightly higher impact on AI visibility than the actual posts. So definitely do not ignore comments. That's not only when you have to respond to someone asking about your brand, but also where you can input your brand. And you might be wondering, okay, so this is Notion. There is a ton of community engagement already happening with Notion. What about if I have a small brand? Would that work for me? The answer is that yes, it would work. So I'll give you an example here with my previous startup, which is Encharge email marketing automation tool. And we've been running that project for, I believe, 3 months, and you can see how many signals we already found for them. And the reason it works is because Sensorhub does an AI analysis of every single post that we find, and we try to show those relevant conversations where not necessarily involve your keyword, but maybe it's there's again high in commercial intent or something that's relevant to what you talk about on your website. So you can see here with the Encharge example, there are not that many mentions of Encharge. It's not that popular of a tool, but still there's many opportunities where they can engage with. because there's other competitors. We also track all of these competitors from the Intel page. We also look at the category. We look at the subreddits that we monitor closely. And there's a lot of conversation, like, for example, this one, best email marketing platform, that they can be involved. And eventually they will, get more brand mentions, and will show more, not only on Reddit, but also on AOM models as well. So that's what Sensorhub does. Feel free to sign up. We have a 7-day free trial. And if you have any, questions about the tool or otherwise, I'd be more than happy to ask, to answer, sorry. So thanks, guys. Let me see if you have any questions. Okay, so yeah, Dylan asked to confirm Sensorhub lets directly reply to a Reddit thread through the interface with an AI generated pipe if we choose to. So we do not connect with the Reddit API, and the reason for that is that Reddit blocks API calls. So the moment you connect your account to an API of any sort, either to post comments or create posts or whatever, you will get blocked. And that's obviously not a good thing. And also, again, we encourage our customers to use this just as a starting point and inspiration, but then to, bring their own thoughts and customize the drafts and then send them. So hopefully that answers your question. Um, let's see if there's anything else here. Okay. Yeah, that's a very interesting question from Annie. Do you want to take over on this one? I have my thoughts as well, but Lily, maybe you might have some insights here as well. Hold on, you're muted. Did I mute you or it was you? Okay, it was
No,
you.
it was me. Hey, Annie, thanks for the question. Very great question. Okay, so obviously, if you are already participating on Reddit, you probably have set up specific prompts that you try to get more visibility around, or a set of prompts, like a fan out of prompts. What I would do is just check out on the visibility score of that prompt, and also the citation count. Your tool, whatever that is, probably gives you a citation count as well.
Yeah, one thing I add here, specifically about Reddit. So Reddit recently, a couple months ago, they launched back the referral traffic. So there's no referral traffic from Reddit. So if you include any links, you'll see them as direct traffic from Reddit. I think 3 or 4 months ago, they put this back, so you can actually see referral traffic from Reddit. Now, the issue is that Reddit people don't like links. So you have to be careful with how many links you include, and just be very sparse on the link inclusion there. But that's one thing. The other thing is, I think self-attribution is really important. If you have depending on, if it's a product or service or whatever, but ask people where they found you from, and include community or maybe Reddit directly as one of the options. That works for us. We see some people signing up and mentioning Reddit as a place where they found us. Another one is to look at direct traffic. What we found with some of our customers is they see an increase in direct traffic, and with some specific conversations, they find they find increase in signups. So some posts, for example, we have one customer that got 70 signups from one single comment. And it was very obvious that for them that was this specific comment. So with those like high buying intent conversations, which are the bottom of the funnel, you'll be able to see that direct traffic and just signups increase. obviously doesn't always work, especially if you're going for the long-term game, which is to increase your brand visibility. But these are some things that you can implement just to get at least a bit more info on what's going on and track all that. All right, we have another question for on Reddit for B2B tech conversations. Have you had more success with an openly branded profile under your brand name or anonymous civilian profile who are just randomly recommending our company? So personally, I would never lie about my profile. I I'm being very honest and upfront that I'm a co-founder of this company or I work at this company. I don't use branded profiles there. I've seen some brands do it. I think it works better for more established brands. If it's a smaller brand and more established brands with communities. So if you have your own community, then that's totally fine. But if you're commenting on under other subreddits, then that's a different game. I would recommend personal profiles, but avoid anonymous profiles if possible. So my personal profile on Reddit is Kalo. You can see if you open my profile, you can see my profile picture. There's a link to my website. And every time I comment anything about Sensorhub or any company that I'm involved with, I mention full transparency. I'm the co-founder, but I think you should use this because this or that. And it also helps to mention if there are any other competitors that are better for specific use cases. For example, if someone wants to track visibility on AI, I would recommend Peak or whatever, some other tool. So that's the way I approach it.
Yeah, I totally support what Kalo has been recommending. And by the way, because again, I'm old enough to remember, this is the way that it worked with Quora when Quora was the big place where everybody was asking questions, and Stack Overflow again for tech brands and tech conversations. You go with your name, your role in the company, and you can go with the brand as a profile, only if this is the branded subreddit or Substack.
Yeah. All
The
right.
anonymous is definitely not a good idea. It can backfire very badly.
Yeah, and especially fake reviews and all that
Yeah.
fake comments. Uh, and something else to keep in mind, all those fake reviews and comments, they are recorded by the models. So you have even less control after that if you mess up and then you want to change them for some reason. You cannot delete them. It's not your website. So if you're building a long-term business, you gotta be careful with stuff like that. All right, awesome. I think that was the last question. Thank you guys, everyone, for being with us today here. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. We'll share a recording of this. And yeah, if you want to get in touch with me, Kalo at Sensorhub.ai. And more than happy to answer any questions, or if you want to jump on a follow-up call to talk about AO, SEO, Sensorhub, etc.
Same on my end as well. I'm easy to find. LinkedIn, the presentation, you have my email as well. Any follow-up question or an idea of some pain points you have and you'd like us to deep dive and get insights if we don't already have it, we could easily get together again and in this group and obviously answer more questions. So
Great.
questions or ideas, feel free to contact us.
All right, guys. Thank you, everyone. See you.
Bye all.